Just me today, I guess, huh?
I think everybody's going to be popping on soon.
Good morning, Dre.
You get to, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. You get to run the show today.
Hey, I can go an hour. I might have to take a few questions to fill in the gaps, but
Oh my gosh, so funny. I know Cameron's hopping on.
good. Yeah. Is he running it today
Yes,
or
I think so.
hosting? Okay, good. You still in La Jolla?
I am. I
Nice.
am. Right on Prospect.
Yeah, love that.
Yep. Not a bad place to be.
Is it foggy down there today?
It's overcast.
Okay.
So yeah. Yep, it's definitely foggy.
Yesterday was really foggy up around Lake Murray.
What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
More
the sun was out for a little bit, and then now I think we're going to be getting some rain.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't had that before. It's been one
Yeah,
of those
right?
years. You guys get much rain out there in the desert?
We did, but now it's like 80 degrees and sunny, so we're back to normal.
Nice.
But yeah, we caught a lot of weather this winter so far, which is unusual for us.
Yeah.
But we had that El Nino summer, so kind of expected to be a weird one. But now I can go golfing again.
Yeah. We're expecting more out here, so I'm heading to Vegas for a couple of days.
Nice, man. It's like perfect out there right now.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have a place out there?
No, we're going to pick up a golf cart, a six-pack Schindler golf cart for a wedding venue. So we just
Ah,
going
cool.
the week. Yeah. Take advantage of a couple of
That's
days.
awesome.
Yeah.
So you can drive down with the trailer?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I was looking
That'd be
for one
sweet.
in the desert, trying to find a new one on a lithium battery because we don't want to have any noise during weddings, as we're going
Yep.
delivering. So found a little bit better brand new deals out in Vegas, just overall.
Yeah, I bet it's not like golf carts are on premium out here. I
Yeah.
went shopping for one. They're like, cool, it's like 30 grand. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
could buy a Tesla. That was weird. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. What's up, David?
Hey Ross, I'm gonna come and see you soon.
Let's do that.
Let's do an event at your office.
All right, cool. I'm in.
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
That would be great. I'm excited for that. Anytime the Lawson man's in town, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Morning, Gianna.
Just
Hi,
gonna
guys.
go. Hey, Jan, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I think we're just gonna give everyone a minute to pile in here, and I think I don't know if we have a couple more joining on the panel. I know today we're going to be talking about buyer objections in today's market. This is going to be a good one, you guys, because the market's shifted a lot, and I think Janet, you're going to be definitely helping out here too, because I know our market down here is definitely in the decline. So I'd like to hear from you, but let's just give it a couple more minutes. How's everyone's week been going? Good.
I'm wore out.
Yeah. This NAR stuff is just
Not gonna lie, I'm wore out.
yeah. But
One day at a time. One day at a time.
that's right, Jana.
Kind of reminds me of COVID, honestly. You know how like every day felt like a month?
But
Yeah, we're jamming.
I've talked to so many people on this NAR thing, I don't even want to hear it anymore. But I'm just going to say one thing. This NAR thing for a lot of the realtors, it's going to take a lot of them out, and all of us that take advantage of it are going to rise to the top, and we are going to benefit from this so much. It's hard to see, but I truly believe that any negative can be turned into a positive, and we have the people and the resources and all that. And our team, we got 5 of us, and we're working on kind of a new buyer presentation. We're working on scripts. We're working on how we're going to present it at a listing appointment. One of the things that we're going to start doing is we're we're not we're going to negotiate every listing from now on, and we're going to go up.
Mhm.
We're going to negotiate up because there's going to be people and unrepresented buyers that say, I don't want to work with a buyer's agent, so I want to work with just the listing agent. And so we have a golden opportunity to make more money there. There's a lot of things that are going on right now that are gonna they're just really good opportunities. We're going to do a SWOT analysis with our team on this whole thing and see what are the opportunities and so on. So I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to get down to it. And then yesterday, no, I'm sorry, Tuesday in the meeting, in our meeting and all that, people are all nervous and stuff. And I said, you know what? What did you do today? Did you prospect today? Did you do your lead follow-up? Did you go on buyer or seller appointments? Did you negotiate contracts? Did you do your job? Because we have to still focus on our job. And the other thing is, what do we really know is going to happen and when?
Nothing's definitive yet.
Yeah, we don't know, and we don't know when, right? So are we going to worry about it? Or are we going to just buckle down and do our job and start preparing for it? And, the last year and a half has taken a lot of agents out. In our marketplace, there's like 60% of the agents that have done 0 or 1 transaction in the last year. So they're already out of the business, just no one's told them yet, right? And then there's another 20% that did like 2 or 3. And last time I checked, if you do 2 or 3 transactions a year or 0 or 1, you're living at the poverty level. You're not a professional, you're an absolute hobbyist. And so I'm so excited about this opportunity and having all of you to help all of us and all of the people that are on these calls. It's invaluable.
It is,
David,
and
I completely agree with you. And I'm going to just bring something. I had initially had my real estate license. I usually don't talk about it. I don't count those years in my current real estate career. But in 1999, I got my license in Pennsylvania. Craig's going to love this. I worked for Prudential Fox and Roach in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, and I sold a ton of real estate, but I was brand new. And so when I started, they were rolling out some piece of paper that I had to have every buyer sign for a buyer's basically buyer's representation. And all the old timers, and I don't mean age wise, the people have been around for more than 2 or 3 years in the office had a really hard time signing those papers with their buyers. They felt like their buyers were never going to sign it. I had no problem. I didn't know any better. I just said, you have to sign this if I'm going to go show you a house. My broker said so. And that was the end of it. And they signed it every single time. So this whole lawsuit is just change. And you either are going to roll with the change or you're not. And if you're not, you've already figured out that you need to go find another job. And if you do roll with the punches, like David said, we're all going to make out royally at the end. It's just a small change. It's not a big change.
Yeah. Well, and
Dave,
everybody
I want to jump on Karina there a sec. I want to jump in right after because I was one of the old guys that was 10 years already in the business and I was 30 years old. Okay. So, all right, I get you. All right. So I remember this coming out and it was like the sky's falling. Oh my God, what are we going to do? In meeting with all my guys in my organization and also with other agents, I got agents from other companies calling me because all their managers are running scared. All they're saying is we can't talk about it. We don't know. Oh my God, the world's going to change. You understand something? In Pennsylvania and a lot of other states, buyer agency was in effect already. It was already put there. That's why it was broken down. The difference is it had no teeth. I was following the law, just like my advertising that other agents don't do and follow the law. And the challenge is that I had no teeth because they were saying, well, so-and-so wasn't doing it or so-and-so won't make me do it. Well, guess what? Playing field's even now. Now you've got to come play with the big dogs that know how to show value versus just being a waiter or a waitress or a taxi driver, whatever it might be. I
Mhm.
get it. Stop living in fear, live in curiosity, have fun with it. It's going to make you better. It's going to make our industry better. And it's not a matter of if, they're going to pay us.
Yeah.
They're going to pay us. It's just a matter of where it's coming down. I got one for you to think. Has anybody really thought this far down the rabbit hole yet? Doesn't the seller get to write off a lot of the closing costs? How's the buyer's IRS stuff going to change? The IRS isn't even ready for this, and this is getting put in place. So it's going to get real interesting when accounting comes in and everything else. But guess what? We're only a conduit. Show your value, go where you're at, have fun, and get at it. Know your rules. So, and be different. Sorry, Virginia, I wanted to jump on because I was when that sheet came out, I loved it. But then the problem was nobody else was enforcing it, so it made it difficult. Now they all got to do it.
Well, the thing I like about this is that we can't open the door of a house without having agreement signed as of, whenever this goes into place. I love that. And then, so what do we have to do? And what we are going on this panel, as soon as I get it figured out, we're going to have a training that I think all of us should participate in on how we're going to do that. And the thing is you can get a brand new agent that doesn't know the difference between a townhome and a condo, or you can have somebody that is very, very, very experienced. And the way it is today, whatever the BAC is on the listing agreement, that's how much they get paid. Should the person that doesn't know anything get the same payment? No, not in any other industry, right? So what we're going to do is we are already working on a buyer's presentation that talks about all of the things. And I'm going to share that with this whole group, what we're going to do. Like, what do we do? Like, Craig, you've done this a long time. There's a lot of things that you can do. So Craig, do you want to just look at the properties that are on the market? Or do you want to know all of the other properties that are off market, quiet sale, and subject and coming soon? Which would you want as a buyer?
I want to know everything, but I
Right.
also want to know that when I'm in a fight, how much experience do you have in the fight?
Yeah. And so we're going to address that, and we're going to talk about the Lawson Teen Quiet Sale and Off Market program. And we're going to be using that in our trainings. We're going to say, would it be okay if I looked at old expireds and new expireds and canceled and withdrawn? And right now, on our team, we have 107 people that are in our quiet sale and off market program. Would it be okay if I shared, to see if any of those homes fit for you? I'm going to do this and that. And this is what we do for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a video together so we don't, every person on our team doesn't need to learn how to present this whole thing. We're going to do it so I'm in a video style. So Craig, I'm going to send you a 4-minute video. Will you watch that before I meet you today at 4 o'clock? And then boom, and then you turn it on and then say, and don't say at least my thought now is I'm not going to, maybe we won't even say anything about this, but when we get to the door, especially, like Ross and some of us that are Zillow or Flex partners or whatever, right? We're going to get there, and then we have shown them our true value, and then we sign them up for a contract, right?
Oh yeah.
And hey, Ross, how many times have you had one of you or your agent shown, an internet lead, and then they they're ready to write an offer, and then they tell you, oh, sorry, I wrote it with my other, my friend,
With my brother. Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
the
no,
last
that's
thing
Dave.
is, oh yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, that's good stuff.
I'm sorry. One last thing, because you can see my wheels have been turning since Friday. So, who is worried about a lot of unrepresented buyers on this panel? Good. The answer is, well, I don't think we need to, because so if somebody says, I'm just going to call the listing agent, you say, okay, well, I can help you, or you can call all the listing agents. But if you call all the listing agents, you're going to have to sign a contract with every single one of them, because I can't legally show you my property at 123 Main Street unless you have a buyer agency agreement. And so we're all thinking that, oh, all this, the buyers are going to do all this together. But last time I checked, most of the buyers, they want to look at the house before they write an offer or buy it.
Yep.
So anyway, I'll shut up. Let's move on.
Dave, that's really good stuff. And you guys, that's why, and then I know you mentioned this, but next week on the panel, we're doing a overview on the buyer broker agreement specifically because of, you know, the settlement. And next week, I want everyone to be inviting their friends, invite people that you know, because it's going to be a great call, and we're going to dig into more of this and the strategy we're using with that. One thing I'll say though, and I think Karina kind of touched on this, and folks that are already using buyer broker agreements like myself, because I started in 2008, where kind of had the same stuff going on. Like, you know, people were going straight to the listing agent and you're going around you. We went exclusively to using a buyer broker agreement up until COVID, when it just was no longer really enforceable because so many people had so many offers. So, you know, you don't necessarily need to have a big buyer presentation where you're trying to show them the world. Like Karina says, you put it in front of them, you say it's needed, you have to do it. Most of the people do. Now, for the folks that don't, and as this shifts and more people create more unique things, you know, I'm really excited to see what we put together for our agents and all of you guys, because it's going to be so valuable. But, you know, talking about the buyer broker agreement and kind of having the objection there, that's going to go into right in today's topic, you guys, which is buyer objections in today's market. And I want to jump right to Ross the boss. You know, you're dealing with a lot of buyers. I know you're dealing with people coming from the internet. What are you hearing? And tell us how you're handling those objections and how your team's handling those objections.
Yeah, totally. So the biggest objections as of late, they're kind of squelching themselves, because I think people are starting to just understand we're not going to hit a dip in the market. We're not going to see interest rates fly through the roof. Everything is same. We've been at a stalemate in our market here in the Southern California desert for about 2 years almost. In June of 2022, we hit a block wall, a metaphorical block wall. The market came to a complete stall out. Everybody in my market normally is looking for something they can pull an ROI on, because they are purchasing as an investment home, and in the interim they can lease it out short term and actually do pretty well on it with all the events and the draws that we have down here in the desert. Paired with the interest rate hike and inflation, Palm Springs decided that they were going to restrict short-term rentals even more. So after that restriction happened, it was kind of like we got backhanded by inflation, and then forehanded, like double smack with the short-term rental rules. So we had a lot of people that were concerned about the direction of the market, because most people who are purchasing in Southern California and resort areas, they're looking for appreciation and value. And that's normally at a pretty quick and extensive rate. So when buyers now these days are coming in, the biggest thing they're doing is looking at history, seeing what they bought it for in 2019. And they tell me, Ross, these people are supposed to make $500,000 in 5 years. That's insane. That's unheard of. Well, how come they get to do that? And so we have to address the buyer jealousy factor. It's like, well, you can be sitting in their shoes too. Right now, you're in a position where you can negotiate. We're in a very even market here in the desert, where it's neither a seller nor a buyer market. We have very low inventory and very low buyer demand right now. But when people come to the table, it's opportunity. So when we see this, kind of like what we're talking about, this buyer broker agreement, how are we going to find opportunity in the objection? And that is kind of seeing their objection and actually able to flip it around to where it's a positive. Oh, I see that you're having trouble wrapping around. The seller's going to walk away with money here. Well, how about we schedule out a 5-year plan for you in this? What are your plans for the property? Are you going to rent it out? Or are you going to make a return? What does 5 years from now look like for you? How about we're in a position where there's not multiple offers and we can negotiate that price down? How about now when we're talking about these buyer rep agreements, not only are we going to get my commission credited for you, but we're also going to get you some closing costs and put more money in your pocket. So what you're afraid of is losing money. How about we flip the script and I'm going to work for you super hard, and I have a track record of doing this, to put more money in your pocket as you make this investment decision, not only at purchase, but as you move along. You're going to get an ROI on this property. We've done our research. We know what we're doing, and here's the opportunity. So buyer jealousy, meeting numbers, being prepared, having loan solutions. I'm working on non-QM loans right now because there's HOAs down here that don't allow or that are owned by the residents. So cool. I got all these listing agents, those communities telling me it's got to be an all cash deal. And then I'm able to bring financing options for these people in the 7s with as little as 10% down. So as other people aren't able to sell in that neighborhood, I'm rocking them out and they're able to short-term rent these condos and make their ROI. So just being versed in every position or every place that this great business has, whether it's on the lending side. You don't need to be a lender, but you need to be versed in what you can offer your clients. You don't need to be an accountant, but you do need to be versed in how people can make money on their properties. You don't need to be a forecaster, but you do need to be able to understand what your escalation scale is going to be on value, or in some cases, in the markets you guys are talking about, the de-escalation part of the market and how you can navigate that. So as long as you know what you know and you're able to articulate it and meet that objection with a positive, you're going to be sitting pretty, and you're going to be the one selling homes and making a splash in your market. And then people are going to ask you how you're doing it. And then that's when you're going to see the growth.
That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. And, you know, kind of what you're saying there, buyer jealousy could be kind of like fear of overpaying at the same time, right? They're seeing that these people bought it for so much less. Now they're paying so much more. But when you can get them to refocus and refocus back on their goals and then the long-term value of the property, it can refocus them into going from, oh, I'm the victim, to, oh, that's why I'm buying real estate. And that's the goal of objection handlers, is to get them back on your side. That's fantastic stuff, buddy. And you're going to hear this a lot, everybody, is that to get through this and to navigate with buyers right now, it's going to be you becoming the expert, right? You spending the time and knowing your market, knowing the areas, know what's going on, because every market is going to be different. You know, Ross's market out in the desert is completely different than, you know, maybe the Ohio market or our Florida market. You know, so keep that in mind too, you guys. So Craig, I wanted to jump up to you. I know you're doing a lot of stuff right now. You're working with a lot of people. Tell me what you're hearing.
I think it's more agents that are concerned than the buyers. The buyers are like, okay, tell me what I got to do. And how I've been explaining it, it's like, this is even going to get better for you, because before you were throwing your dirty laundry out to 9 million agents. Now you're only going to put your dirty laundry with me. It's like when you go to the doctor's office, I use the line, you know, the consumer notice in this is a HIPAA form. That means everything you and I talk about is a relationship now. This is a fiduciary responsibility, where before you really weren't caring about it. It was like going around throwing your social security number around and not having LifeLock. This is LifeLock for real estate. This means that I know that I'm working hard for you and I have a light at the end of the tunnel to be paid, versus me doing it nonchalant and having another job. If you want somebody, exactly as Dave said, to go turn rocks over, dig graves up, and do everything else, I'm the guy. If you want somebody else, it's okay, go over there. So buyers don't know what they don't know. They only know what they're hearing. And unfortunately, all they're hearing is wildfire. I have more buyers saying, oh my God, I heard the market's going to crash. No. And then I had sellers say, oh, I hear the market's going to go up. I said, no, it's going to be a market. The market's the market. So as I'm doing is I'm educating both sides on what I know. And if you're a newer agent and you need some help, get a senior partner. Use their numbers, use their reference. I know with everybody in my organization, I tell them, look, you're having a meeting with somebody, you can say, look, I got a senior partner that's had over 4,000 sales. He's been through this before. You want to get on the phone with them and understand it. So I'm volunteering to get in calls and do those things with the people that I'm involved with. So if you don't have that, find somebody, partner with it, and do it. but have confidence in yourself. That's my biggest thing, and not live in fear. We're still going to sell real estate. The world isn't going to go shit in a handbasket overnight. People still need information. People still need to go. If it was all internet, we would have been out of business 20 years ago. Remember in 2000 when the world was coming to an end and, oh my God, real estate's going to end? It didn't end. It just moves faster. You just got to figure out how to move in the game. That's how I'm figuring out. And trust me, I'm the old guy here. Out of all of them, I think I've got more, all this shit. And guess what? I'm so damn excited about it because it is fun.
Yes.
The second you get in the game again, you're on the field, you can do it. You get bored doing the same thing. I know Jan has been around for a long time. She's taught tons of people. Her confidence is there. Brian's confident. Ross, you in that desert market, God bless you. You know? But I mean, it is what it is. I'm sorry if I'm talking in circles. All I'm doing is educating. I'm saying, I don't know what the future is going to bring, but I can tell you, you want me to represent you? This is how we do it. You don't want to do it? That's okay. Go over there. Just move on. There's plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty of money in the sky, all the blue sky. Just grab it. Work with the people you want to work with, how you want to work, and then move on. That's how I'm doing it and going to deal with it and telling everybody.
Mic drop. Easy. That's it, you guys. And I think one of the things you just touched on there, if your pipeline is full and you're busy and you have your business set up properly, if you find someone that doesn't want to work with you or they refuse to sign an agreement with you, okay, well, you know, I got another people. I'm meeting another guy in 2 hours. That's okay. Have a great day. Huge, you guys. And to another point there, Craig, the market's great. The market's always great. It just depends on what you're doing in it. So that's the thing. You got to be finding the people that the current market works for. If that means it's corporate relocation, or if that means it's, you know, whatever it is, you find those people and then they're staying motivated. Absolutely hit the nail on the head. And I love it. So I want to jump over Brian Yarbor. Tons of experience, tons of coaching through all the different markets. Tell us what you think and what you have been hearing from agents regarding objections, not just to the buyer broker agreement, but just objections in the current market.
All right. Well, thank you. And I echo everybody. Thank you, everybody here. Yeah, I'm going to talk to our participants because there is a lot of wisdom on the panel here. And you guys talked about what happened when you started in this. I had started in 1985. I've been a real estate agent for coming up on 40 years. And I can tell you through wisdom, this is nothing. Nothing has changed. Every buyer needs one good seller. Every seller needs one good buyer. Everything in the middle is us, the business. Nothing has changed. Buyers need a willing seller and sellers need a willing buyer. So the process that we're actually going through today, Ross and I, and now, good morning, Matt.
Hey guys.
In California, there's a few things that we do maybe a little different than the rest of you. And I focus on these because when I take a listing in our MLS here, we have a thing called a variable rate commission. Variable rate commission means that the seller and the listing broker can make arrangements that are different. We have no rules. We get to make them up because nothing is set, right? So I could have a 3% commission for the listing agent, and I can have a 2.5% co-op broker fee. I could earn more than the other broker. I also can set it up to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we have this document that allows me to represent the buyer. Are you okay if I represent your buyer? It's called a buyer representation, right? It's a dual representation document. So I don't know what the listing agent has set up. So if I'm working with a buyer, my buyer consultation is not about my income. My buyer consultation is what is the seller looking for in a buyer today? What do you have what it takes to get your offer accepted? So let's talk about buyers. Buyer consultations educate the buyer on what the buyer needs to have prepared to win the offer negotiation settlement time. Because in California, like in Ross and I, and now Matt, we have these things called, hey, we're coming soon. Then we hit the market and we got 10 offers or 5 offers or 3 offers. And then the listing agent says, all offers will be presented next Wednesday at 5 o'clock, or we give a date when we're actually going to meet with the seller. So we're pronouncing to all the buyers like, hey, you got to get your best offer on the table during that presentation time. And if you're the only buyer getting your offer presented, that's even better for you, better for the seller and both agents, because now we're negotiating one offer. But we don't know what that property is going to look like until you find it, or we find it, or we pick it out. So how about we do this? Let's not look at any properties, because I know I'm doing you a disservice, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. If I show you a house tomorrow that you fall in love with and you can't buy because somebody else wanted it more than you, I'm doing you a disservice, and you're going to hang on to that property. It's going to be the one in the, oh man, that one that got away, that one that got away. How many agents have ever shown a property and the buyer wanted to buy it and they made the offer, but they weren't quite ready and somebody wanted it more or was more prepared? And then your buyer hangs on to that and they're like, oh, but it's just not like that other one. Yeah, we like this one, but it's just not like the one that got away. I don't want to show the one that got away. I make sure that I don't show any properties until the buyer is prepared to win the offer. So how do you do that? There's 5 strategies. Number 1, buyer consultations have to prepare. I call it my avatar. You guys all have your avatar. You just don't know maybe what an avatar buyer is. But a buyer avatar is somebody that is so prepared, they don't want to go look at property. I change their mindset. And I'm saying, hey, you guys, you're not ready to win an offer based upon what you've already told me is going on between you and your lender. If your lender doesn't say, Brian, these people are as good as cash, because that's who you're going to be competing with in today's market. You've got to compete with a cash buyer. So the buyer objection handling is this. We've got to be prepared, number 1, to sell you your offer to the seller with such an amazing approach that it's not going to be about price. It's going to be about you. They want you over the other buyers. Most of the buyers we're competing with could be investors. Sellers don't like investor buyers as much as they like a legacy buyer. Somebody's going to live in the property. They're going to continue the legacy. And so a buyer that's going to do that needs to know the seller wants you to be able to be in a position to move in the next 30 days, that you have no contingencies, no leases, nothing holding you back from being a buyer that is so good that you could close in 30 days or sooner. Okay, that's number 1. Second thing a seller wants to know is, do you have proof of funds? Do you already have a loan package? Are you pre-approved already with a lender? If you are, we need to support that. So I'm going to need your proof of funds and your lender approval letter before we show property, because other agents like to see that I have the proof of funds already. Who really wants it? The seller needs it, but who really wants it? I want it before I show property. But who do I use to get it? The seller and the listing agent. There are listing agents that won't let me show a property without your proof of funds and your DU approval already. They don't want to waste the seller's time. So let's just be prepared. I want that in my file before I show you property. Can you get that? Let's work on that. Let's not go look at property until we have the ability to prove to the seller that you're a really good buyer. Let's show it up front before we show houses, because they're going to want you. So and then your money is seasoned, and if you have a gift letter or a family member who's going to help you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we need to have that all in place as well ahead of time. Then 4th thing, I need your wish list. You as a buyer going out into the marketplace, if your listing agent wants to know, how did you like it? What's the feedback? Okay, my feedback should be between, I don't own every house I'm going to show you, so you have to give me valuable feedback, because I don't want to show you more than one home. You should only see one home if you have a wish list that is so tight, right? Because how many of you had a buyer after you showed them what you thought was the perfect property, they go, I need to think about it.
Yeah.
Right? I took away the I think about it conversation. Here's what I say to them in the buyer consultation. Hey guys, a couple things are going to happen. Number 1, one of you is going to say, I need to think about the perfect home. So we need to dial that in right now. I'm not going to show you a home that you need to think about. I want to show you a home that has all of your non-negotiables. So if it's a walk-in closet that's missing in the house, I'm not going to show you a house that doesn't have a walk-in closet in the master bedroom. If you need a laundry room upstairs because you have 5 kids and you're buying a 2-story home and there's no laundry room upstairs, it's in the garage, I'm not going to show you a home with the laundry in the garage if you have to have a laundry room upstairs. Now, I'll let you choose to see one, but I'm not going to show it to you until I let you know, hey, I'm going to show you the perfect home. But guess what? It doesn't have a couple of your non-negotiables. Number one, the laundry room isn't in the garage, but it's downstairs in a room downstairs because there's another bedroom downstairs. This builder didn't put are you okay with seeing that property? Nope. Got to have that. Okay, great. So we don't look at, I take away properties that most agents will show, because when they show them, it doesn't have everything. It's got to have the house has to be a 10, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, non-negotiables will kill a deal, and you're wasting time showing them properties. Okay, so you don't want to do that. The other thing you don't want to do is show a buyer who's not a 10. So they have to be prepared to be a 10 in this market. If they're not a 10, we don't go look at property. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you see yourselves today as a buyer? Do you match up? There's only those 5 things. So you get 2 points for each one. You're a 10, let's go looking at property. If you're a 9, we got to work on something. If you're a 7, hey, I'm so proud of you for telling me you're a 7. You're wasting your time looking at open houses. Let's not go look at property until you guys are a 10. When I say that to a couple, typically one of them goes, see, we shouldn't be out looking at property right now. One of them doesn't want to be looking because they don't feel ready. So agents are showing buyers and they're not even asking them, hey, you guys, where do you guys see yourselves today as a buyer in this market? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you guys rate yourself? Typically, one of them will say, I'm about a 6. Okay, great. I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about that. Because I don't think we should be looking at property until you guys are both a 10, right? So all of this stuff is preparation for them to have a great experience. If a buyer is so prepared, they do only need to see 1 or 2 houses at the most. They really do. Now, you may have to show a buyer a home without knowing all this, but you have to have this kind of conversation really quickly into the relationship. That's what buyer consultations are for. So I'm gonna back out right there, but I hope I gave you enough there nugget-wise to say, hey, I think I'm showing a lot of people, and this is what I did in my career early on. I just wanted show. Hopefully I show the right home. They love it. They make an offer. No, that's frustration. I flipped the script. I said, hey, just like a doctor, I'm going to give you an x-ray. And I don't know if I need to put a cast on you or if I just need to put your arm in a sling, but we got to take an x-ray because I don't want to do malpractice on clients and take them out and show them property when they're not ready. And a lot of agents are doing that. A lot of agents are ruining relationships. You know, if a buyer walks into your open house and say, hey, great, thanks for stopping by. How long you guys been looking for a home? Oh, we've been looking for about a year. Holy cow. I don't want to work with a buyer who's been looking for a year. I need to dial that in, right? I'm going to pick and choose. Like, why are you been looking for? I wouldn't say this stuff, you guys, but this is what's happening. They're having a bad experience. They're trying to find a home on their own and they're trying to do things on their own. And nobody's taking the time to tell them, listen, you're having the nightmare experience. But if you've never had like the American dream experience, then you don't know how to deliver that. So build an avatar. Work on an avatar buyer script, buyer presentation, so the buyer is so overly prepared that the market doesn't matter. They're a 10. If they're a 10 in this market, they are a 10 in any market. They have to be a 10. Otherwise, you and them you're gonna have some struggles finding the right property. I'll step out there.
Brian, no, that's great stuff. And you know, finding the right avatar, the right buyer, you guys, that really goes back to what Craig was saying, is keeping your funnel full, keeping working, doing the money-making activities, keeping those people coming in where if it isn't the right person, they're not qualified, or it's not the right time for them, or they're not able to, you aren't reliant or not dependent on that one thing. And that way it doesn't throw off everything else you're doing. Asking buyers to rate themselves, you guys, it might feel uncomfortable for the first few times, but you do it and people are comfortable. They'll tell you the truth. They just need to be asked the right questions. And then they're going to explain to you exactly what's going on with them. Follow up on that too, you know, with great experiences, when you guys do this, and listen, when you put together the experience and you start correctly from ground zero and you work them through all the way to closing, they're going to be happy to pay you, you guys. They're going to be happy to sign those agreements because you're showing value. When you show value, I've literally had this, you guys. They go, wait. And I explained to them with our buyer broker agreements that sometimes they're not offering the same commissions. And they go, whoa. We want you to pay fairly. We want you to earn what you're supposed to be earning. And they fight for you, you guys. Believe it or not, your clients will fight for your commissions and fight for you because you are giving them that experience. So
Hey,
good
Cameron,
stuff, Brian.
two other things real quick. Always let your buyers know
Go for it.
this. They're going to have buyer's remorse at some time through the transaction. If you tell them they're going to have buyer's remorse up front before they even get into a transaction, it's healthy for them to understand that that's normal. You don't want them to call you freaking out when they get something that doesn't match up. You tell them, hey, listen, somewhere down the line, both of you, one of you is going to have buyer's remorse. If you do, just know it's normal. And I want you to remember, you're a 10. You may be taking advice from somebody who doesn't know where you're at, how much preparation you put into this, and you're going to hear a conversation about somebody who's in a bad spot, right? Don't let that affect you. You're a 10. Just remember that. So if you have buyer's remorse, that's okay. It's normal. Talk about it and then call me and let me know. Maybe we can work it out. And the buyer jealousy that Ross was talking about, here's the script we handled that with. So if you're concerned that you might be overpaying for this property, or you're putting too much money in the seller's pocket, because when they say that, oh my God, they bought it a year ago or 5 years ago and they're already making this profit, I go, well, what would it matter if somebody gave them the house? Let's just say someone gave them the house. Now they're actually, they don't have it. They have all equity. They're going to make $1 million off your offer. What should that matter? Here's what I tell them. Your lender is going to do an appraisal, and their appraisal is going to confirm the price. And if they can't find the value, then we get to go back to the seller. Okay, we get to go back. But if your bank finds the value in this property, that should feel great to you that you're getting a good deal. So forget about the seller. Let's move forward with what you need to feel comfortable about what you're buying, and your bank is going to satisfy that with an appraisal. Are you good with that? Let's see what the appraisal comes in. Okay, that was it. Sorry.
That's great. No, and that's big time, you guys, is if you prepare your clients for things before they happen, when they happen, they're a much smaller issue. You're breaking that big rock before it's even a consideration or before it has rolled down the hill. And then when it happens, they go, oh yeah, it's just like Brian said, just like Cam said, it's normal, right? They're expecting it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great stuff. Jana, go ahead.
I'm going to use a little analogy on that. It's a good segue. So, you know how like when you're on an airplane and all of a sudden you've got turbulence and it starts like, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, like what's going on here? And if the pilot doesn't get on and calm us down, you know, what's everyone thinking? I might die on this airplane, right? Like I literally was landing the other night and nobody said a word and it started happening. And then everything's running through my mind thinking, is this my time? Like, is this it? So this is great for buyers. I mean, we just have to tell them all the crap that might happen, right? Like the buyer's remorse. I love that, Brian. I mean, you know, how so many have buyer's remorse and so you just set all these stages up front. I mean, this is part of the buyer consultation, to be honest with you. And Craig and I know this from our early days, but if you tell them everything up front, then they're okay. So if the pilot would have gotten on and said, listen, everyone, we're going to be experiencing some turbulence. This is about to happen, right? So with the buyer, here's what you can expect over the course of, now that we have you under contract, this is what you can expect over the course of the next 45 days or 30 days or whatever it is. Just set those expectations early. That's bringing value. That's calming them down. It's a stressful situation. I was just a buyer myself and a seller. And I thought every realtor has to go through this, right? Just to remember what everyone's going through. So the more we just calm people down, we're their guide, we're their psychiatrist, we're their whatever, right? Like we have to provide value for them and hold their hands. It's a stressful time. And a lot of people are stressed out just because of the move. And it really has nothing to do with us, right? Like, so if we just make it very clear and calm and remove this, then that's also why we bring value. But let's face it, people are going to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so all the more reason, you know, those relationships are important. But even if you don't know them, we have to date them, right? People aren't just going to automatically marry us. We have to date them and show them value and explain things to them and educate them and bring them the information they want, and then they'll do business with us. But so really nothing has changed. This is just going to force all of us to raise our level of skills and to, you know, act on those buyer consultations. I mean, from day one, like I've never had buyer agreements, but I've had buyer consultations, and I ask a lot of questions. And the more questions you ask, the more information you're going to get from your party. You're gonna determine not just what type of house they want to buy, but why they want to buy that house and why they want to live, you know. So just ask questions and go 3 deep, and not just, and just listen, you know, listen more than you're talking. And then get to the bottom of how to bring value to them. I mean, that's all people really want in the end, both on the list side and on the sell side. We do it as listing agents, right? We sit there, we do a very thorough presentation. We get to know them. We ask 1,000,001 questions, or at least we should, before we even go out and sit at that kitchen table. We do a very, you know, great seller profile on them, and we know what personality profile they are, right? You should learn the disc and know who your clients are and what's important to both. If there's 2 people involved, or husband and wife, or 2 people, like, we know who they are and what we're dealing with. So again, it's the same way with the buyer, on the buyer side. The more you know that buyer, try to have an understanding of what they're wanting to do, you know, to help them achieve their goals. You know, then you make it happen. We're the solution people. So I don't know. I don't know what the question is. I kind of got lost with all these conversations, to be honest with you.
I know, so much going on. I know. You know, I think you hit it on the head there, Jana, though, and you're so right, is that you have to be, especially as times get more challenging, because when things are unknown, now you have to be even more for your buyers and more for your clients. You got to be their therapist. You got to be their psychologist. And then you're being their agent, you know? And
Well,
you know, it always reminds me of Jerry Maguire.
And you have, but how do you build trust? You have to, you know, I mean, they're not going to just like immediately, you know, want to do business with you. They got to, like I said, we have to date them. You know, you don't just get married on, you know, the first date and think, oh yeah, you look good. No, it's like, prove to them why they should marry you, right? And get in business with you. And so I think agent referrals are going to be, you know, even more popular now. Like, you know, we're only going to refer to people that we know are going to do a good job. I think that people who do have lead generation websites, you have a hands up, because you have a pool of buyers and you can educate that pool of buyers. So if you don't have lead generation websites, I would be getting them. And because I think those are going to change, you know, just how we do business, but at least we have them right there in our hands, and then we can educate them, and then we can, you know, get to know them better, date them, and then lock them in with the buyer arrangement, but explain the value to them, and they're going to do business. That's why people want to do business with someone who's going to bring them value, you know, and so nothing has changed. We just have to do better if we want.
That's it.
Survive. One of the things, I mean, you know, we're kind of going back to this, you know, all this other, but I mean, we're putting together a flow chart, you know, and really, like, if you don't have a buyer, like a buyer book or buyer consultation, you absolutely have to have one. And we're looking at our buyer consultation, and what I found with my team members is that we had it in place, but they were haphazardly doing it, right? Like they were, you know, maybe doing it at the first house, right? When they met the person, or they were covering a few things on it, but they weren't covering every single bullet point on our consultation. Maybe we hooked them, they didn't want to use our lender, so they just let them use their lender, but then we really didn't dig, you know, I mean, so I found that we were sloppy. So, and there's holes in what we're all doing. So I think that this is the time now to just go and go back and say, where am I being sloppy? What do I need to keep doing? What do I need to start doing? And what do I need to stop doing, right? Do that keep, start, stop analysis on your business. And then just implement it immediately. I mean, there's so many things that we all have in place, whether it's a buyer, consultation, those can be improved upon. You know, we're studying everything we're already doing and just one-upping it. But you know, I mean, I'll be honest to all my team members. I've said, if any of this scares you right now and you want to leave the business, now's the time to do so, because it's going to be a new way of doing business. But that doesn't matter. We like, look at all of us. I know Dave and Craig and I and Pete, Karina, you probably too. We've all been through so many things in this business. I mean, I didn't even have a cell phone. I didn't even have a bag phone. You know, I mean, we used to fax offers. Some of these people on the call might not even know what a fax was, but I mean, we've always had changes in our business, and we've always just leveled up, and we've always been the first ones to adapt and be agile. We are so fortunate that we are with eXp Realty, and we have the tools and the platform and the collaboration, and we're on top of it, right? Like, so everyone who's with this company should be grateful, and because we are blessed. Our eXp exclusives, if you don't know about that, you need to learn about that, because that in itself with ZenList is going to be a game changer, right? And that is also something that we can implement into our businesses and say, listen, I have access to properties that aren't even on the market yet. And with my buyer agency agreement, that's another way of me bringing value. So for me, it's just value proposition. It's always been about that, you know, whether it's me for who wants to be on my team because I'm a team leader that has a value proposition, myself, but then also we're with eXp. So I have a double value proposition, right? So do you want to be on my team? Because here we go, right? We're on top, we're running, and we're already ahead of the game. So to me, it's a recruiting opportunity. You know, it's a way for me to recruit not only to eXp, but also to my real estate teams if I want to grow those. But people need education, and agents are not getting that from any of their brokerages. And they're afraid because people, when they're afraid or they lack confidence, is because they don't have the knowledge. And so knowledge is power. So, you know, anyway, I don't know if I dropped anything in there, but I'm happy to answer any questions for panelists if you have it. But
that was great. No, Jana, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up ZenList, you guys, because no one's touched on that yet. It's huge. eXp Exclusives is going to be something, and it's already something, but it's going to continue getting bigger and bigger as we continue growing it. And it's going to be really exciting for our buyers. It's going to make us stand out. Craig, I seen you down there dying when Jana was talking about dating the clients, and it's true. What do you do when you date someone, you guys? You're asking questions. You're asking hard questions, and that is exactly what you're doing with your clients. Is you're asking hard questions, qualifying them, and then deciding if it's someone that you want to work with. So great stuff, Jana. Loved it, and it's great to see you on the call this week.
Hey Cam, I put a link in the chat for the scale of 1 to 10 buyer consultation document, so everybody could have a copy of that.
Cam, can I add something?
Thank you, Brian. That's perfect.
I'm going to add something real quick.
Go ahead, Craig.
It's just a fun note before I get my old brain around this. When we were talking about buyer's remorse, it happens all the time. Bring the elephant out in the room to it. I just had a flashback back to the 90s when I was in the business. I know most of you weren't born yet. Stop your shit. Here we go. Bottom line is, I went out and bought all these, what do you call it? The medicine, you know, the thing your pills come in from the pharmacy? And I filled them with jelly beans. Jana, this goes back to something we used to teach at Bayer University when we were with Star Power. Had all these buyer's remorse pills. So when I met with a buyer the first time, it was filled with jelly beans. I said, look, here's the deal. You're going to have buyer's remorse. Everybody's going to be in your ear. First of all, ignore them. When you feel it, eat 2 jelly beans. And when you run out of jelly beans, call me. I'll send you or bring you more. It breaks it up. It makes them laugh. And it makes it real. It shows that it's going to happen. Say, look, it's planned. Look at all the jars of jelly beans I got that are in medicine containers. And I labeled them with RX things on them. It was from Dr. Craig the Realtor. Here's your buyer remorse pills. You got to have fun. All right?
That's it.
So just wanted to throw a tidbit out there.
Beautiful, Craig. That's a great one. I love it. I love it. Karina, let's jump over to you. I know you're working with a lot of buyers all the time. Tell me what you're hearing and some of the objections and how you're handling them in the market.
Okay, so we're limited on time. And because I work with both buyers and sellers, I'm usually very good at knowing what both sides are looking for. But more importantly, let's talk about, I created something, I'm just uploading it now. A lot of people need confidence in this new objection world that we're in. And I also know from coaching and being human, sometimes we run into writer's block, right? So I really feel like more importantly, you know, I think we were talking, today was going to be about like role playing and the buyer's objections. So I was curious what ChatGPT and Gemini, Google.ai was going to give me. So I literally copied and pasted everything that they gave me today. And my questions were to ChatGPT and Google. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is if you're on this call right now and you're watching and you're like, this all sounds great, but I've been in the business for a few years, or I've been in the business 20 years and I don't know what to do. Use AI. Let them help you start crafting it. It's not the whole thing. Like, I'm going to take all this and turn it in with more personal stuff in there and create a really great document that I can share with buyers ahead of time or in person or however we decide to use this. But in this document, you have buyers objections. So I went to Google first. So Google is still in infancy stage. They're still training it. We've talked about that on a few calls before. And ChatGPT has been educated for years and years, and they stopped educating it in 2021. So I was curious which one was going to give me the better answers. They actually gave me some really cool answers, but I did find that Google could not find me, even in Google, to help me with 20 points of why you should choose me, right? So, but ChatGPT 4.0, the paid version that's been trained extensively, it can speak in my voice. You're going to love this. So what's been dropped in there, you're going to see the first one in each section was Google first, then ChatGPT. And I give you reasons, buyers' objections in the current market. And some of it's just normal objections, and some of them have to do with the commissions and the lawsuits. And so you can start thinking about how you would want to reply to that to a client. But then you might say, I really don't know. Don't worry, because I thought of that too. So then I asked for role play scenarios for realtors, and I asked it to take all those 15 objections and put it into the role play. So you guys can actually check this out. You can have it and practice it and make it better, come up with more. You can go back out to AI and ask for more things. If you can't think of what those objections might be, and that's where we lose confidence, right? Is when you have unknowns. So I want everybody to be able to keep their head up, their shoulders back, and answer these questions like you've been practicing, you've known them for a long, long time. Now, as you go down, you'll come up with more buyer objections. Now you know you're at the ChatGPT section, and then you're going to see that they have a whole different list of buyer objections, which is really cool. And so now you'll see like what someone might say to you if they're having any kind of doubts, market doubts, overbidding fears, all sorts of things. And then that gives you another role-playing scenario. But that's not enough. And just like, I think it was it Brian, David, Craig, one of you guys, or maybe it was Janet. I'm so happy to have another woman on the call with me today, but and Blonde too, girl power. But really the thing is that we do need to have a pamphlet or a booklet that's going to really, that they can take home with them. Because if they decide to go call somebody else, and after they meet with you, and you're the one with all the knowledge that's in print that they can comb over. Most people throw things in the trash, but I don't think this is going to happen if you make these nice and legible and really talk to them specifically. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI for that, but I do believe that you have to then spin it in your own, like take the ideas and then make it your own. That's how you get past writer's block, is getting those ideas, and then you can like drive it from there. But sometimes you don't even know where to start. So now you'll see where it's actually talking to me at the end of it. And I asked it specifically, give me 20 reasons why Karina Daninger, broker associate, team leader of the Lotus Group, why someone would want me to represent them as a buyer's agent. And it came out with a really nice long list that I can add more to it now. So it can help you get started on this, and then let it metamorphose. And then the more you go out there, make it into a PDF, but keep the Word doc, right? I always do that, because then I might go back in as I'm talking to people over something, if I'm creating like a little brochure or whatever it is, and And then I may say, oh, that was a good question. Let me go back in and ask ChatGPT, how should I craft this next time? Because I didn't really know how to answer this question. And then you can make it, if you get the question once, you know you're going to get it 52 more times, right? Like it's not, it's just like if one person doesn't like the house that doesn't have a garage, they all don't like the house with a garage all of a sudden. So it's the same thing. So I'm not going to take up any more time. I just wanted you to know, I wanted to give you guys something tangible that you can start working on yourself. Go out to ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Google AI, and try to, you know, come up with more things for yourself. It will help you with your confidence.
That's big, Karina. That was amazing. And everyone, listen, we're running up on the hour here. I'm going to tell you, if you're a newer agent, or let's say you're on that second leg of your career right now with AI, you guys, if you're jumping back into it, you can learn so much and create your own stuff. It is an unlimited amount of information, and that's one of the problems. It's too much information, but I absolutely love that. And you can create stuff just like what Karina did, is seeing what people's objections are, see what people are saying, and then also allowing it to build out something for you to build value. That's wonderful, you guys. And next week, we are going over the buyer-broker agreement and how it's going to affect with the NAR settlement. I'm really excited about it. Okay, everybody, invite your friends, invite everyone you know. It's open to everybody, of course. And Dave, I know we didn't get to you today. We're going to start off with you next week, and I'm really excited about breaking that down. But this was a great call, you guys. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be advantageous for the experienced agents that are, you know, powerful like we are.
Thanks, Cam.
Love
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Have a great week, everybody. See ya, guys.
See you guys. Bye.